of Spain was the city first in the world to celebrate Emancipation Day. And we must keep that pride of place by doing what has to be done to continue to hold that place in the world. A world that has not always been kind to us, but a world in which we have always fought, a world in which we can claim victory. So today, my wife and I join you on this walk. We join you as we reflect. We join you as we demonstrate. Let us go into the streets of Port of Spain in our resplendent beauty and say to Trinidad and Tobago, we of African descent, we are building a nation. We are joining with others. Others are joining with us. But we remember who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. Happy emancipation to everyone in Trinidad and Tobago.
Love to heal a nation is the greatest power.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, happy emancipation from Burn Team and Radio Irish City.
Yes. And it's your backyard virtual emancipation breeze out. Mike, how you feeling? Mike, how you feeling? Mike, how you feeling?
Hot.
Oh, good.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
I emancipated long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's Emancipation Day. We cannot go out and enjoy the pageantries, but we could still touch base. Tika?
Yes.
I know Tika, Mike, if he didn't have any COVID, Tika used to go and make a whole garb, for this emancipation.
But at some
go buy these things too.
Yeah, but the question is, I'm now looking to ask her, where the hair tie?
She had the head tie this morning.
Yeah.
She had the head tie.
And
So we like to show Roots.
What?
You know where the roots came
Roots and
from?
culture.
The roots?
Yeah, roots and yes.
Yeah.
Roots
So,
and
big
Well,
up everybody
you
on
look
the
good.
line.
You look good with the hair tie. You should have it on this evening.
Yeah. So big up everyone on the line. I always
Yes,
wanted
good
to find
afternoon,
out what
everyone.
was the Emancipation Day food. What was the dishes they used to have on the Emancipation Day?
Good
You know
question.
what I
Well,
mean?
I know
Good question.
at home with my mother, she always cook black eyed peas. Cook up.
Oh,
Yeah, black eyed
oh,
So
peas
that
was
so
the
that so
thing
that was
for
more
man.
the tradition style of food.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know black eyed peas was the thing.
black eyed
So
peas
When
cook
so
I
there was it
cook
called a
up,
pilau
yeah.
or they call it just black eyed peas?
No,
All right.
black eyed peas cook up.
Black eyed peas and
Yeah.
rice.
No, not black eyed peas and rice. Black eyed peas cook up, Mike.
Right.
So how you cook
Right.
black up cook up? How you cook black eyed peas cook up? I don't know. And share that
It's
today.
not pilau, but they use instead of using the pigeon peas, they use the black eye.
Right.
And they
Right.
stew the chicken one
So
side.
right. So they never make it
Right.
in a style of mixing up the black rice and then everything else, or just the peas on the side.
Everything inside, Mike. Everything
Cook up, cook
inside.
up.
Cook up, Mike. Cook up.
It was more like a pelt out then.
No.
So, big up Wayland Tony on the line. Right,
Afternoon,
happy
Wayland.
Emancipation, man.
We know Wayland
Oh,
is
yeah,
that
right,
next
right.
guy who does be in his African way
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So
So-
even Big Map this looking.
No, well, yeah.
Mike, you look like you went to Hawaii.
At least I'm not like that. So while we're breezing out today, we have a little clip as well to deal with some of our history.
Yeah.
Trinidadian, Trinbagonian history. And alongside, we being emancipated and we were discussing about liberating our minds. Mike, we did have a few discussions in the week. And, Friday, we touched on it before we get wild. But
Yeah.
what kind of vibration has it been, emancipation, would you give to the people?
When you say break that down, because there's
You're
so many
talking
vibes
about-
that can get people.
Because, in retrospect, elevating the way we think, how we deal with each other, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, my take on that. So everything that is being said this evening is of my views and not the views of Burn Team and Radio Irie. Right. So we put in a disclaimer. Well, for me, I've always said that we truly not emancipated yet in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Because of the fact how we deal with each other as African people or black people or Trinidad Afro-Trinidadians. We don't get everybody else's culture but our own.
True.
And when you look around from over the years, what I said today on my page, I put up, is this now a new norm where everything comes around?
Right.
We look at the fashion designers now. So it's more fashion designer. We dress up in all the African gabs.
Right.
But when 12 o'clock reach, 1 second past 12, nobody
Everything.
put on the African gabs. So what it is really
For the
about?
rest of the year. For the
Yeah.
rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we really
yeah.
celebration for in the first place?
Good. So we're going on touch a video. And when we come back, we will dissect this video, Mike. And I know, as you say, we like to leave some information. So Chika will give us her take and we will really dissect this. So let's take it in. Happy Emancipation. We're trying to give some information. And us, Burn Team, Radio Irie TT, we like to give information
Yep.
as well as entertainment. So we are coming to cause no bacchanal as yet. We just leave that
At
for
all.
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Islands of Trinidad and Tobago have a rich culture, abundant in diversity. This is because throughout history, many ethnic groups have made a great impression on Trinidadian society. It is believed that the first peoples of Trinidad were Amerindian tribes from South America, the Caribs and the Arawaks. The Arawaks were a peaceful people who settled mainly in the south. They hunted, fished, and grew crops such as cassava, maize, and sweet potato. They also used cotton to make hammocks and used tobacco for rituals. They also made pottery and wood carvings. The northern part of the island, the land of the hummingbird, was inhabited by the Carib tribes. They were a fierce people and rebelled against European attempts at colonization. July 31st, 1498, brought the explorer Christopher Columbus to the island. He named La Trinidad after the Blessed Trinity. Trinidad was now a Spanish monarchy. At that time, the Spaniards were only interested in gold and other stones. There was none of that in Trinidad, so the Spaniards essentially neglected Trinidad except for bringing war, foreign diseases, and enslavement, which decimated most of the indigenous population. In 1498, it is estimated that there were 35,000 natives. The colonial powers thought that a religious conversion might help to control the Amerindians, so the Spanish set up missions and punished those not willing to follow the faith. Almost all of the natives were murdered, taken as slaves, suffered fatal diseases, or committed suicide. It is reported that there are 300 Amerindians on the island today.
Brought the first forms of carnival with them. The French would hold masquerade balls right before the beginning of the Catholic period of Lent. The slaves mimicked their masters by putting on masks and wear dress. Of course, the rich people didn't like this, so they tried to put a stop to it. However, these festivities continued. The idea of street procession at carnival time originated when the slaves were fully freed in 1838. They would light cane on fire and parade down the street. This was to symbolize how they no longer had to cut cane in the middle of the night if their master's field was on fire. This celebration was outlawed several times throughout the years. Despite this, Carnival is possibly the country's most widespread celebration today. The first African slaves came to Trinidad in the early 1780s. There was an influx in 1783 because many came over with their masters when the cedula of the population was issued. Most slaves were domestics or worked on plantations. They were treated extremely harshly. Hard labor, disease, and inhumane living conditions were common. They were often beaten, sometimes to death. The British Parliament passed an act abolishing slavery in 1834. In Trinidad, however, because the island was so dependent on slave labor, slaves were forced to endure an apprenticeship period of 4 to 6 years. Slaves protested and held demonstrations. On August 1st, 1838, the governor proclaimed a general emancipation.
When slavery was fully abolished in 1838, there was a shortage of laborers for the plantations. The planters were desperate for workers. An agent of immigration was appointed to source workers from other countries. On May 30th, 1845, the Fatal Rosac docked in Port of Spain with hundreds of Indian immigrants aboard. These people came to serve their 5-year period of indentureship.
Born in 1930, I had 2 sisters that have every bit the intelligence I have, every bit the drive, but they didn't have the same opportunities.
Because you were a man.
And I was white. But they didn't have the same opportunities.
Because you were a man.
And I was white. So if I'd been black, my future would have been entirely different.
Spanish rule in Trinidad came to an end. A British fleet led by Admiral Sir Ralph Abercrombie sailed to Port of Spain Harbour. Chacon had no means of fighting back, so he surrendered. It was then that Trinidad became a British monarchy. The British left a huge impact on the island. The architecture in Trinidad was, and still is, highly influenced by British settlers. Today, we still follow the British system of government. All public schools follow the British model and, for the most part, curriculum. English is the main spoken language, and the spelling of words is in British style.
Very interesting. Very.
Mike.
Well, that's part of the issue we were talking about during the week, where history like this or story of this like this have not been told any length and haven't been taught in our education system.
Yeah.
And still today, it still hasn't been taught. The only thing is that we know about the fellow who lied, Christopher Columbus. We know about other people, but what about our own story?
Yeah.
What about our own story? And because of the fact that we want to please the outside world and not our own people, that's where the problem is.
Yes. Definitely. And we see
What
that,
is
you know,
information? Very condensed.
yeah. So, I mean, when we think about how we were brought here, because the majority of the Afro-Trinidadians would have been brought here through slavery, right? And your foreparents didn't come here by choice. They had no choice in the matter. And that is something that we all need to understand. It was not choice. We were brought here. And even though, you know, being brought here, we can still be thankful that our foreparents survived. They would have been able to go through, they would have taken beatings, they would have lost their culture, their traditions, their languages. A lot of things were lost. So sometimes that's why some persons, they may seek to go back to Africa, right? They may not know exactly what part of Africa they actually came from, but just to have an idea, to know, you know, to learn the language. We know that in Trinidad and Tobago, they may go back to like Yoruba, you know, learning some of the African languages, right? So we know that there's the African Association. So most of the cultural groups, you'll see them leaning towards that Yoruba language, and you will see that they still try to, like in the Best Village, they will participate in the dances, or even some of the stories that would have been told that would be based on Africa then. So we know that some of the religious practices, yes, because, you know, because of the rulership that we had before, the religions were definitely influenced by it. So they just take away some of what it is they know. They were left with very little. Very, very, very little. So you will see some parents, so like, some parents, what they will do, they will give their children African names. They try, because they know they're trying to hold on. So like my name is an African name, right? So all my cousins on my mom's, we all have the African names, because they know they try to hold on to something then from Africa. So we know, and there are also persons who will go as far as changing the names that their parents would have given them. Right, I know persons personally who, you know, would have changed their names. They will try to get a name from Africa, even they change it to their surname as well. So it wouldn't be like any of the slave masters' name, because we know that they would have studied, slave masters would have given, they know they belong to this plantation, and they would have given them their surnames. So it's like if it was but it would have been the slave masters, because they would have felt that they belong to them. So it give it to them. Right? And that's how a lot of persons would have the names that they have today.
Right, so a little something.
Well said.
Well said, Chica. When we come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, she's a little more again, there's 2 lectures. Yeah, so when we come back, we're going to with emancipated as a
nice.
After looking at the colonization information present, right? So when we come back, my brother,
Hey, it's your girl Chica J, and Burnteen TV is we bring the vibes.
Boutique TV is about merging online lives with basic unconventional raw nutrition services, giving it a TV effect while streaming live.
You're locked on to Radio IRTT, the family and international online radio station.
So we back. We back.
Yes, we are back.
Yeah. Give it. What? Rhythm, boy, rhythm. Yeah, Mike, Mike and Chica. Awi.
Emancipated.
No.
Take it slow there, Mike. Let me deal with it.
Nah. We are not.
Well, let's have it.
We are not. We are not. As I said before, the way we treated each other, we always saying we come from Africa. We didn't come from Africa. Our descendants came from Africa. But have we learned from our descendants? Have we? No, we haven't. We live in a society today where it seems like we don't understand our skin color, no racial tone, and it seems like mentally we don't understand who we are, where we came from, or where our ancestors came from. One of the things you hear a lot is people will put things on Facebook and will say they want to go back to Africa.
Yep.
No Trinidadian at present who born in Trinidad and celebrated emancipation will go to Africa like tourists. What are they going to say? I'm African?
I think I want to add to what Mike's saying here, right? First of all, they will need to have the money to go to Africa in the first place. That is number one. Right? So to start, they need to have the money to go there. Right? Now, the thing about, as I was saying earlier, Africa is like a big place. Right? There are so many different villages, what they will even say countries in Africa because it's a very big continent, right? And I mean, we like earlier on today, we saw the documentary. I don't know if anybody ever listened to it about blood diamonds, right? But the thing about it is, persons, they, even now, what I will say is social media, they show us the parts of Africa where there's a lot of poverty. But there are parts of Africa that's very rich. Very much rich, and you will want to go there, but they need to have money to go there.
Right.
However it is, they need to have the money to go over there. And then person, what they may think, okay, maybe I came from this tribe or that tribe, right? They are so, it's a place that is very rich. It is a place that, I mean, the history, you will learn that, you know, off of the coastline, that is where these slaves would have came from, or the persons in Africa would have sold their own people as well. I mean, let us be real. It wasn't just that the white man came and just took them off the island, right? So, I mean, we have to be real. Some persons in Africa may look down at us who are in the Caribbean and say they are offsprings of slaves, right? So people may think, when they go to Africa, they're going to meet people with wide arms open. Come home, my brother. Come home, my sister, right? Now, we know that there are persons who from Africa, like Nigeria and so forth, that actually do come to Trinidad, right? And they seek employment and so forth, right? We know of those cases, right? There are quite around 13 to 2015, there were quite a number of at least for me in my remembrance, that it had an influx then of them coming into the country, right? So just like all the other Caribbean islands, people from the other Caribbean islands do come over to Trinidad and Tobago. So I think that we as a people in the Caribbean, yes, it is, where your roots, where foreparents came from, right? The majority of us, our foreparents would have been, slaves, right? That's a fact. But at the same time, we have to appreciate, maybe if it is we were still in those villages, our life would not have been as great as it is now. We may have been going through. What's that? You want to be in them villages?
I don't want to be in them villages.
Oh no, actually, that's what I'm saying. We have to be thankful, so we know where it is. Let us say we came from, not physically, in the sense that we were born in Africa, but our foreparents were born in Africa. Correct. But we are here today, right? And because we are here today, so Mike raised a point earlier about learning from what you say ancestors, learning from them. What did we actually learn?
Nothing.
And I think one of the things that we should have learned from them is being able to be strong and be together like whole. And we know that we wouldn't say what it is now, but what I'm saying is you have to learn to be strong in adversity. And a lot of time people don't like to go through adversity. That's what makes you strong.
Yep.
What did we learn? That we need to fight for what is right and fight for your life then. And we're not doing that. We're fighting against each other. We are not fighting together to do something good or, create opportunities and those types of things.
I mean,
when
we mentioned something during the week when we started this was very important, and we need to mention again. We have to get away from this mentality as Afro-Trinidadians born from our descendants who we call ancestors. We have to get away from the fact that, and it's something that happens regular. Remember I mentioned this, where we always tell people, like if you go to the America, Canada, UK, any one of these European countries, your own black brother telling you why you're going in a white man country. My problem is, what is a white man country? What is a black man country? Have we learned our lesson? Have we just, or is it that we don't, or we scared to check our story? Is it? Because other people coming and learning about our story, and highlighting it. Yeah.
The reason why I played the clip is to understand how Spain and Great Britain colonized the people.
Yeah.
So whereas we speaking about things that are beyond our control, that's why I asked the question: if we
personally
emancipated, because
because
the way we were colonized. Look, that's why I started from the Caribs and the Arawaks, right? I started from there because we came after that style of colonization came, and then
Yep.
We met something that was already proven to work on an indigenous people.
Yep.
So what they did to the Caribs and Arawaks is either you select a particular lifestyle or you die, right?
Yeah.
And we have to think that was really the slavery, not really the chain, not really the no pay. Because technically somebody working and it come like slavery. Right? The money you even meeting your basic needs. So it's not really about the fee or about the chain. Is your mind is the greatest prison. Right? So if I control all your decisions, I take away your free will. So again, we have to ask ourselves if we are truly emancipated from the way of thinking
We are not.
that was placed upon us or forced upon us.
We are
Yes,
not.
we
Yeah,
are of African descent.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the DNA.
Yeah.
But it is not just merely going. I want to go back to Africa. I want to go Egypt and Rome the first.
And
I
you know,
Egypt.
visit and yes,
I don't have to
Egypt.
yes.
go in there. Right?
And
I am
learn,
going
you know, yeah.
right? But I want to reconnect because you see, as Mike said, the ancestors, right? You're not going back to Africa for nobody to welcome you to open arms.
No, you're going back to connect. Yes.
Yeah, you're going back to connect with the energy. So I think we need to, if you ain't going back for the people in
Yeah.
Africa,
Yeah.
you're going back
But-
to connect
Yes.
with the energy of the origin.
But to show you how we still not learning Yoruba, the African language, some of the African language. When I am saying anything, I've been doing that for years. I always use the word ashe. And not many people know what ashe means. Ashe, so let it be. Somebody tell me when I'm doing them thing I put it on Facebook, I should say amen. So I said, do you know where amen came from?
Then we don't start that talk. That's our next talk. If you go down that road, right? So play some music, Mike. Play some music. Let me get some vibes. People, if you're looking on or you're touching in, Radio IDTT, Bernstein TV, Chica, J, Mike on the top, at the bottom. And feel free to place in the comment section if you think that you are emancipated as a human being.
Yep,
Yes.
correct.
Emancipated.
So we go with Bob.
The rabbi sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my
I bring it, 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 bring the iron love. I bring it, 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 bring the iron. Hold it, make some noise, jump around and make some noise. Hold it, make some noise, jump around and make some noise. Nothing sweeter than hearing the sound of who I am.
This is Igir Riri from Basic Unconventional Raw Nutrition, inviting you to Sweaty Soca Sunday with your girl Chica J. You don't know. None of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs.
How was the Sweaty Soca Sunday?
Well, it was nice. We did some Afro beat, soca beat, just for the emancipation vibes. It was nice. People get a nice sweat. They burn, they're tired.
Or look at talk
you
that.
know?
Or look at talk that now. Or look at talk that now. Let's talk that.
Yes. So,
I talk that.
yes.
Talk that.
Yes. We were soaking wet.
Yeah.
Right? So question, as we know, people, do you believe that you are emancipated? Right? And I mean, being emancipated or feeling some sense of freedom. A lot of people don't feel that. It's a partial freedom. So it's not like total freedom because of the laws that we are bound by, and because of the way that we were indoctrinated, right? There are lots of things that, well, because you learn it, and you think that that's what it is, you move along with it. Good afternoon, Felicia. Happy emancipation. Yes. So Trevor G said that I am here to be free, not to get freedom. Right? So, I mean, everybody has their, different views on what freedom is, whether it is they were born in freedom, whether it is they feeling enslaved right now mentally. I mean, a lot of persons are different places, right? A lot of persons may feel like they don't have a choice really, even though we have something called human rights and saying that they have a choice of religion. You see, when you are a child,
we don't go down that road.
We will focus. I will say child. When it is you have parents, that's where you grow up and learn whatever it is they know. Until you reach a stage where it is you're able to go out there and learn more of your own and go towards what it is you would like to learn more about. Right? So at some point, people say you always have a choice, but there are times in life, I will say that they really don't have a choice. Some may agree, some may disagree, and that's okay. But there are times in life when they don't have a choice.
So in the clip, Mike, in the clip, right? You listen, Mike? Mike, anyway.
Yeah, he shake the head.
Right. In the clip, we saw Mr. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, and he said that if he was a black man, his life would be totally different because of the opportunities that were taken away. And then I mean, you see, and this is where they have the big risk in the state with opportunity.
Yeah.
So again, I am asking Fadel and those who listen. Right now we are in Trinidad. We're still under the style of Great Britain. So our laws, our parliament, everything is based upon that styling of rulership or leadership.
Yeah.
What is your view on Great Britain and the relationship they still have over the Caribbean? Mike?
Well, I think it has to do with the fact that when we go back into the rulership of Europeans and the conquering of African nations, and remember you talking about slavery and stuff, there was also that monarchy that ruled all over the world. So Britain was one of those, France was one of those. But because I've lived in Britain for so much years, some of the history that I've learned, there's some good and there's some bad with the British having hold on Trinidad. Because there's a lot of treaties signed, even with the Americans, but I could talk out of Britain because I lived in the UK for years. For me, I have been saying for years, and I've asked this question.
Yeah.
If we didn't become an independent nation and still under British rule, just as the gentleman said, would we be in a better state or much better state today in Trinidad and Tobago? Because when you look at most of the countries that is under British rule, like British Virgin Islands, they're prospering exactly.
Yes.
So
you see,
I always ask that question. If we did stay,
remember?
Yeah.
Remember, you see, that would be the trade-off with us because that happened when Nixon took it all off the gold standard, right? The England still kept the monetary high. So when our dollar floated, being independent, we had to face the market. So that gave the dollar the that 7-to-1, 6-to-1 in the
Value, yeah.
kind of ratio. And that changed it. Again, we live in good still, we still eating, we still alive.
I mean, we are still, in spite of all what's going on, we are still fortunate to be in a position that we could do certain things without being pressurized by British and Americans, because we are an independent country now. Look at Barbados. Soon, I think sometime either August or September, I get the final from a Bajan friend. They're going independent, so they're coming away from the Queen.
They wanted, because remember, they would have to ask the Queen for everything. They would have to ask Great Britain for everything, to do anything, to make any decision.
Right. But for some people don't know this, there is still an inference from America and the UK in Trinidad and Tobago. But how many people?
I would say the UK.
Well, the UK has more. Yeah, they have a stronger hold on Trinidad than America. But people will deny that. People will deny that.
Yeah, we don't get overrun by some terrorist nation
long time.
Right? So, Chika, tell us. I want to touch on, as Mike was talking about the fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Our ladies really emancipated when coming to the dress code of our ancestors based upon what is going on.
No, okay.
Are we honoring our ancestors as queens, ladies, in the way in which I'm watching Facebook, y'all, just now, here I see it. Just now, I had to put our shades to watch Facebook because it borderlining on almost what is going on.
Yes, I feel like it's like if they're going way, way, way back.
Because look, I mean, look,
they're going way back where
and we're going all about talking, but I mean simply the way we presenting ourselves.
Exactly.
Is a form of emancipation,
Yes,
simply
correct.
The way we presented ourselves, the way we dress, the way we address one another. We calling men dog and female dog and what I mean? So we not being
that's why I said before Chika talk. That's why I said we are not emancipated. We are not. From what I said to the top, before Chika come in, she could add it. The way we treat each other, just the same way we're talking about the dress wear. We dress at a particular time for particular season.
Yes.
No, Mike. Here, let me tell. This is my observation. First of all, it have some people that don't even dress for the occasion, right? That is just me.
Some people.
Yes, right. So females, it have females that do not. Where even if it comes to emancipation, they don't even have a little strip of cloth that will be considered African print, and this is fact. Right? There are some persons already, because as I know we're talking about dress, but there are also some religious practices that would have come down, from African origin. So, some persons already are part of that. So it's already in their, it's already in their nature. That's how they grew up, etc. So it's a norm for them. But for the persons outside of that, some persons, they don't even dress. And I mean, let us forget about the print, but the way that we carry about ourselves, the conduct we have. Now, there are some clothing, we know that you will see that they are fully clothed. Now, every occasion, there's a different style of dress, right? There are different styles. It may seem more what they will say skimpy down here, or when it is a dancing, the fine, it's very seductive and rude.
Fashion
but
statement.
It is not necessarily so, because when it's just the difference is the music that is used during the dance. It's the same movements, because I'm just saying, sometimes if it just have persons that, let us say for example, in a gospel concert, right?
No,
It's
wait,
a church, it's a concert. Disclaimer, I just saying. Is that this okay? Disclaimer. They my view.
Yes, no. Hold
You
on.
just play the music. It is
Wow,
different.
it's a address, Tika. Wow, want you to address.
It's the clothes.
Fellas again, it have more fellas with us today, you know. Or you had the bag of girls today. Right? You don't
All
have
right,
your
the
sport
dress.
today.
The dress.
What
the
I'm
dress.
saying, we're going off on a tangent. What I'm saying is that in light of emancipation,
Yes.
and we being emancipated as queens, as females, we're talking about,
Mhm.
and what
Yeah.
I'm seeing being portrayed now,
Yes.
that is what I'm talking about. We
Yes,
are talking
I
about
went off
we
track.
went off,
Yes.
right? So
Right. So I'm
we
going off
as
track.
queens,
No. Females, no, we are not showing that we are emancipated by
that is
the
what I want to
way
get at.
that
Fashion
we dress.
statement. Fashion
Right, so if it is
statement.
we are dressing, we want to be, as they will say, modest. Right now, as I was saying, it dresses to the occasion. That does not mean you're bamsy chick hanging outside
Why
or
is all kind
your
of thing we see
cleavage
outside? You see everything outside.
hitting in. We know that some women have, they have a lot of boobs, right? But the way they make some persons actually make the effort to
Female
put
attention,
it,
that's why I call it.
yes, right, to seek the attention of the men. And what you do is portray yourself as a sexual object rather than a queen or even a princess for the teens, right? And then we, as we not setting examples for the younger one, and we encouraging them to just show off their whole bodies, and you can't even see the modesty in it, even the way that they speak.
Well, there you go.
When they wear the dress.
So there you
Where
go.
right they wear?
Yeah, so there you go.
Sometimes some people, as Lion said earlier, they calling one another female dogs. I don't go down. I do not call anybody a female dog, never. I wouldn't do that.
Right,
I
so,
mean, it's degrading. So if it is we are emancipated, we're supposed to be able to speak like as queens and uplift one another rather than, you see that,
Yeah,
they
but
will say the B.
that's very
And they will
important.
think it's okay.
Yeah, but Chica, also, most women who putting on these African garbs now, if a young woman comes up to her and asks her, what's the purpose of putting on the African garb? What is the reason behind it? Is it just when it's emancipation, you put it on because it's a fashion statement you're trying to make? So,
yes.
what is the
now-
reason? What are you going to tell these young
Okay,
women?
so what I recognize, right, for those who, take the opportunity and, because, we are a diverse, country, multicultural, persons will wear the African prints and so forth. So that's what you will see. So some persons, they know that it's just, okay, it's emancipation or it's leading up to emancipation. Let me wear my African print. You'll see some women that they will actually wear it, and even men as well will, and okay, whatever they just wear their African printed outfit during the year. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, because they feel some part of that culture and, belonging, right? As I said, a lot of these
I have a
things.
question for Mike. I have a question for Mike. Because she got to take off, and when she take off, it's hard to kind of, she heats it. Right? Real African. So, going back to the clip, because we want to I want to keep the panel focused. So, whoever looking at this again, they could understand the direction in which we're trying to go. And we're looking at colonialization and how it is British, French, that kind of thing got into our heads, right? So some of our local, coming in Trinidad, right? Some of our local religions, we're talking spiritual Baptist, we're talking Shango, right? We had two different types of religions that were African, as you would say, right? When we come back, Mike, I wanted to touch on how did the British get into some of the original religions of the African people. Run some music there, Mike.
IRTT, the family and international online radio station.
I hear ya. Yeah. Let me see if you could answer that one because there's a.
Your man say he don't like me. I don't like that you just call. You think you something. He make your man follow me on IG. Motherfucker, follow them. No, but I still think about the Nike. I think about what it might be like if we link up. I know you have someone. I know, but I still wanna keep it in and keep it a secret. I know you have somebody. I still wanna link up and keep it in touch. Let it take place. Come let it take place. Let me take a piece of the thing that let me make a face with it. Let it take place. Say okay. I want you to think about it. Think about it. I want you to think about it. I'm thinking. Think about it. There is no one could ever call you a fraud. Because you're better than them. You are the best overall. You're better than them. You are the best by far. You catch me flirting with a next gal, baby, me sorry. Yeah.
Yes, five.
Yeah, we back.
Yeah, let me get this thing going.
This is a big topic, eh?
Yeah.
Because we will say things here, and again, we're going to put disclaimers to whatever we say. Yeah. We have to put disclaimer. You know, so we're talking about the fact that how the English got involved in just a little bit of history. I'll let you know on the top of my head. You have to understand that this thing goes way back, and this is my.
Can you come and give me some vibes to it?
This is
You gotta give me three way into it.
All right. So for me, I think this word religion was or is something that was manufactured by the Europeans, that we call Christianity. The Anglican Church, the Presbyterian, the Methodists, the Evangelicals. Then you had the Shouter or the Spiritual Baptist, which was an African orientation. So the British now inculcated their way of life in their what they call religion, which they call the Catholic Church, which came from the Europeans, it came from Italy and stuff. And they tried to indoctrinate their teachings into the African spiritual teachings. So you had a conflict of so many different religions breaking away. So if we talk about there's one God, and the body fact that a man died on a cross for you. So we believe that.
The views of Radio IRTT.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would always like to take the angle of how do you get inside without anybody knowing? Because
your doctrine.
Yeah.
You bring a doctrine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I'll give you her view as well, but I would just
I think you bring it up. I think you bring a doctrine. Just like you get into a relationship with anybody, you bring your way of life.
Right.
Chica?
Right?
Yes. You
Big up
see,
everybody on the line here.
religion,
People looking.
yes,
So feel
much
free
love,
to place your
blessings,
comments.
greetings
Yeah,
to
man.
everyone. So, as I
Yeah.
did say earlier on, is that as per, African descendants, those who would have been enslaved, they would have lost they would have lost their language, they would have lost their religion, etc. And that is basically what it has happened. It's had so coming down when they move, no one is say out of sight, out of mind, and these type of things. So it have things that it starts to get low, or it send a message and then the message gets broken down along the way. That is what would have happened with let us say, the religious practices or the belief systems of persons, because we know some persons who have African descent, they will focus more on what they may consider as ancestral worship rather than focusing on one person being in charge. They pay homage and these things like that, right? So, I mean, everybody has their different views on it. Everybody have their different belief system, and it's how you choose now to move forward with what it is as a person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. So the question for today and tonight and whenever is, are you emancipated? And we on the topic now of religion and the influence that it had. Now, the clip showed how colonialization was uh, placed upon the Amerindians, and it was either you serve this or you die, right?
yeah,
And as time progressed, Great Britain and these guys, they needed to look civilized. So now that old style of colonialism was frowned upon, right? So now you couldn't just go into a country and if they didn't agree with what you're saying, you chop off a hand and a foot. It was viewed as savage, and they wanted to be viewed as, the enlightened ones, that kind of thing, right? As Chica said, is ancestral worship, whether it be Shango or spiritual Baptist. My grandmother told me that it had no such thing as spiritual Baptist, right? My grandmother told me that it was opaque Baptist, right? It was never spiritual Baptist. It became spiritual Baptist because they brought the King James Version of the Bible into the religion. Same way as the Shango, they brought the King James. So that was the parley, is that you could practice your religion, but they brought the King James Version. Once this is in the house, you all could
then you can practice
what you was. So it wasn't really about force. It was about some striking a deal in the sense that, all right, we want to chop off your hand. You could practice your religion, but implement the King James Version. So that's why you would see you're ringing the bell, but the King James Version is there. You're banging your head, but the King James Version is there. You know what I mean? And Chicago is more African. I would say spiritual Baptist is Caribbean.
Yeah.
And because the religions didn't get lost. It didn't get lost. It was just converted. It was a form of conversion that was without force. Right? Because before, when the Caribs and them, you had to kill them. Them was committing suicide. It's either, you're right, they wasn't taking that kind of China, as opposed to people who are already enslaved. And if you look at the clip going lower down, you'll see after a while, when the slaves were free in emancipation, you found that the indentured laborers came. But they were allowed to keep their religion. So they came with their religion as opposed to we trying to, integrate our religion with your religion to form some form of control. So it was really ancestral worship.
So what you had is that when they came with their teaching, is a Kalaloo mix. So they add into it. Right. So,
so
that's you think that's
religion.
Yeah. So when we look at it, because we have to be very careful when we're talking man-made religion. When we look at all these different religious organizations that when they're preaching or they're talking, they don't ever say the same thing, but they're saying the same thing.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
understand saying.
And a perfect example for when we got Shouter Baptist Day, you know, when I was talking to our brethren, and you know, the whole reason we got Shouter Baptist Day in the beginning, it was that the governing ruling body of Shouter Baptist is called the Archdiocese. That is a Catholic word.
Yep.
Right? So the and then the priest wear the cowl same way. So the Archdiocese to control our Shouter Baptist scenario and deal with all things Shouter Baptist is called the Archdiocese. Yeah? So when we emancipating, it might be that we have to kind of forget some of the old, unlearn some of the old teachings and start to create our philosophies of how we view and how we really should deal with one another as opposed to the old time traditions and religions that kept us separate. I think all these things kept us separate. And that is why they could rule, because they separated
They have
Correct.
divided.
Correct. Yep. And you're correct. And before we begin, religion, in some aspects, has divided the Africans among themselves.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because
that's the greatest level of division.
Yeah. You can be a spiritual Baptist, a Shouter Baptist, a Pentecostal, a
Methodist, Anglican, a Mormon.
Yeah. And you can't go to their place of worship.
Right. We laughing. I have friends with Shouter Baptist and I have friends with Shango. And Shango ain't delivered shout spiritual Baptist.
This is what I'm saying. So you have those who certain 7 days, Saturday. Then you have Sunday. These Saturday people can't go to the Sunday morning church.
No, that's wrong. And then all it have Pentecostal churches who don't even deal with certain Pentecostal, the same religion. So
because all of them break up in fractions.
Yeah.
They break up in fractions.
The unity as power, we don't have the power because we're not united. And that is the true emancipation thought.
Right.
I urge the leaders of the African different religions, I urge them. Well, let's sit down and talk now.
When that will happen? That will never happen. That will never. Never.
This reminds me of the gangs in New York. Because everybody have a faction and a color and a style.
Yeah.
So I think that you all should just take off everything, put on a white jersey, and all let's sit down neutrally and try to reason with each other.
But you know the funny thing? The funny thing in all of this. But you know when they have an emancipation celebration, I've seen this with my own two eyes in Port of Spain. You know, all these religious leaders come to emancipation celebration.
Yes, they do. They do come together for that celebration. So you'll see the Rastafarians, you'll see a lot of them come out there to march, but still.
The march is one thing to showcase. What I see is a nice pageantry.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Yes.
But still,
after that, that's the end of it there.
So the bottom is, many of us not emancipated.
Because the true vibration, I would say, emancipation is its unity. Because for me to be emancipated, I need to put down what I feel is right, and you need to put down what you feel is right, and we come together and come strong.
Yeah.
When people hear emancipated, they think you had to go UE and learn philosophy and psychology, and you went and you learned the history of this one and the history. No.
Yeah.
Just the mere thought that in colonialism, the Chinese and the East Indians was allowed to come with their religion, so that's what kept them.
Yep.
But when it is you can dissect the different religions of the African nations, then we became against potato, tomato, tomato.
But I was
we
challenged.
We have been doing that for the past 300, 400 years. That is what we have been doing.
I was challenged some years ago while I was in the UK when I was talking about something similar to this. Where are the so-called African leaders who form all these groups? And the question was, are they really teaching the truth about Africa, about being emancipated? Are they? Or are they into it for financial gain? Because over the years, we haven't seen any change with emancipation.
Yeah. It is just a formality.
Yeah.
Because what we highlight in emancipation actually, what we really highlight, Chika.
I think that what is really highlighted, based on me, it will come like nothing. As I said, it's just pageantry. And what will happen is, even for the celebrations that would be in Port of Spain, or some communities, they try to do little things. They might see, they may show the different dances, the food, the culture itself, and that's as far as it goes. And after that, there isn't really anything throughout the year or anything showing, as they just said, unity, coming together, how to come together. And because we are a multicultural nation, it's not just about Black people supporting Black people. You're supposed to be emancipated enough as well. So no, this is where you are in life right now, and as you go beyond that. Not saying, well, they just pick up for their own. No, what are you doing for you? It's not about who's doing what for somebody else, but what are you doing for you? Move forward. Come out of that mentality.
But you know what, Chika and Sheila, what you're saying is so true. And to add to that, all the other, I don't want to say religion, but I want to say all the other sectors of the Trinidad and Tobago, they take their culture, or what we call culture in Trinidad, serious. The Indo Trinidadian, the Chinese, the Syrians, they take their religion, as we'll add that word, serious. So what is the problem with most of us as Trinidadians?
Here's the other thing, which is like really factual. Because our culture was demonized, there are a lot of things that are part of our culture. So when people hear the African language and they hear it is demonized. And I think that's what the issue is. A lot of the everything that came, like, let us say, really came from Africa is demonized. So hence the reason when you find persons of African descent, they may not want to practice it. So you may get your parents or your grandparents say, no, you can't be a part of that. That is not it is not right. So that's what you will get. So you end up just falling into other belief systems and not really taking up what was originally yours then.
Yeah.
Yes, we know we are
how can we go about now teaching the next generation? What as somebody, as a social worker and into that environment, what should we be looking at when it comes to our young people now? Shilan, what should we be looking at? Because remember, one day we're going to be their ancestors. So whatever we say now, are they going to be talking the same thing, or there will be a lost generation when it comes to their aspect of who they are? That's another thing. Many people in Trinidad don't know who the hell they is. All they believe is that they just born in a country. Remember I was saying, we are born in a country, but we are not of that country. So what must we tell our next generation now, guys?
I mean, for me, moving forward in terms of, actually being someone who is emancipated, I will say to adapt, but learn. You can still learn. You can make it a personal choice to learn the history. Right? Make it a personal choice to elevate yourself and encourage others around you to elevate themselves as well. And not have that crab in barrel mentality, or that because you doing it, if somebody else do it, means that they're going to take away your customers or anything like that. Because a lot of times people think like that. That's not how we want to move along with life. We are in a multicultural society. That is what it is. And we just need, and I think when it is we really understand that, we will be able to really move forward. We know, okay, we know people like to use right and wrong. Yes, we know right from wrong, but what do we really want out of life? Right there, and you have to know who you are. Some people say it is important to know where you came from and where it is you are going and all of these different things, right? Now, sometimes people may use where they came from in a negative way to behave negatively. And that is not what we want. They will take out the past that would have been very gruesome, that would have been cruel, and use that and justify their negative behaviors now. And I think that's the other problem. That's not what we should do. We shouldn't go along those lines. We should use it as our ancestors were strong. Let us be strong beings.
And look at this. Again, you're correct. Because you still have today. That's why there's so much division. Because you still have Afro-Trinidadians, because we live in Trinidad, so we're talking about Trinidad, even though it happens outside. We have Afro-Trinidadians will come, they will go on Facebook, and they will blast the British, the American, they will say the white man this, the white man that. But people don't understand, really, and never mentioned, I have never heard an African leader mention that in certain villages in Africa, the chiefs used to sell their own black people. How many people will talk that?
No, they don't. They don't talk that, and that is the truth.
Yeah.
They leave that part out, and then would have touched it very lightly early on. They don't mention that part at all, and I think that's the problem. So they take, like any other story, sometimes people take the pieces from the story that they want to tell to others. It have about 100 pages, and you take out just 4 or 20 pages on what it is you want to tell to somebody. That's why we always say there are 3 sides: your side, the other person's side, and what we'll call the truth. Right? And that's what we need to get down to. And instead of using situations in the past or even situations now to behave in a negative manner, what we're supposed to do is take it and learn from it and become a better people.
Yes, people. So this was our emancipation discussion. So feel free when all you're browsing to place it on the thing go. This was Radio IRTT, Chica J, Burn Team TV, and it was, are you really emancipated? And it could be simply as I having respect for my body. It could be something as simply as, let me help my neighbor. It could be something as simple as, I don't see color, I colorblind. People don't understand it.
And whatever you say, you say to each other.
I just don't see color. No, you might see color, but I don't see it. And you see, that is what it have to reach to. It have to reach to a point where we look beyond the physicalities. Because if we want to talk about ancestors and energy, and we only caught up in what we see in physically, then we are not emancipated. Because the same way a black man could kill you, a white man could kill you, a Chinese could kill you. The same way I could say a white man don't like you, a black man don't like you, same way. So, Granny say, love who love you. So if it happened to be a white man, if it happened to be a Chinese, if it happened to be a East Indian, I love who love me. Now somebody might say love your enemy, but you ain't trusting them. And that is the reality. So if we're being emancipated, we have to get colorblind, we have to get nationality, we have to get blind to nationality, we have to get blind to creed and race. We have to get blind to religion. Because if we're looking at, this was one religion I grew up in, and these ones, I can't meet you halfway.
Exactly.
So if the youths who ever listening in the future, present, past,
I remember.
This is one thing I would tell all you to do. Forget color, forget creed, forget race, forget nationality, forget where you're born.
Yep.
Because if I scrap down your DNA, we might have more Caucasian in we than black.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
Or we might
facts.
have more
Exactly.
French
That's-
Creole in we than.
But that's facts.
Exactly.
That's facts.
Right? If I
That's
scrap
facts.
it down and I look
Yeah.
at your DNA, you might be surprised you're Irish. And
Surprise.
you might be surprised that you're
I
But-
have Scottish.
I have Irish.
right?
I have Irish. I have Irish.
Exactly. I could see it in you, right? So in reality, we Burn Team Radio IVTT after we talk all the way bacchanal, right? You know, we just talk with bacchanal. We want to be colorblind. We know atrocities happen. We not saying that we ancestors and other
Stop
people
dwelling.
went through
Stop
hell
dwelling on it.
and high
Stop
water.
dwelling. Yeah. Stop dwelling.
We
Stop
cannot
dwelling.
say no to that. We know it and evil in this world.
Yeah.
Let me hear Leon. Leon, let me.
Oh,
Comment
that's
section.
my boy. That's my boy from the US.
Big up yourself, Leon.
Yeah, Leon. What Leon saying? Tribal warfare.
Tribal warfare. Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead, Joy Chica. Yeah.
Right. He's saying tribal warfare. Those captured were mostly sold as slaves from Western Africa within the Songhai
Songhai.
Empire.
Yeah, Songhai.
Yeah. Empire are mostly responsible for the sale of Africans to the European people.
Nice.
Right, so
You see?
Africans would have sold their own Africans. That's why I said because
Right? We don't want
when
to
it is-
focus on Mike.
Yeah.
Ollie, listen. We don't want to focus on
on the
African
sales
people and
and
the slave
yes,
people
yes,
because it have good people and bad people in all
exactly,
nations.
All over.
all nations.
So let we not know. All of a sudden, we start to say and clap. African chiefs used to sell African slaves. I done with. I ain't going through that. Right? What I'm
Yeah.
saying it have again. If we emancipated, I seeing the African chief as seeing an evil man. I seen an evil being. So that means now I have to take the lid off and see the energy of the person.
Yeah.
Right? If you is a rapist, it don't matter what color is, that is the energy that you're bringing forth into this universe. Right? So I ain't going on back and black people was telling that is our next kind of outer time and talk that we like to revert back to. Emancipation is we not seeing no what Bob Marley say. We not seeing no color. I ain't seeing the color of your eye. I ain't seeing the religion you're from. I ain't know who God. That is your business. Whoever you pray to, it is your right. But you have to respect with my view as well. So then I can't see creed, I can't see race, I can't see religion. Because if I see it, we will be divided. So in order for us to come together on whatever scheme, we have to vibrate on the same frequency. If I want to listen to Mike, I have to adjust Facebook now and go on my page, go into the VMix or wherever and log on to Mike. That means I have to tune into Mike frequency. If you want to see Burn Team live, you have to click on the button and see the live. You have to tune into our frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So Burn Team is not a black frequency. It don't have a color. And we had a treat with everybody. The what vibration they're giving off.
Right.
Because it's evil black people, it's evil white people, it's in every nationality on this planet.
Across the board.
They are evil alien too. Right? So by
And
taking
no
out some music there.
stigmatization, no stigmatization,
Oh,
no
boy.
discrimination.
None.
Take me up. I tell Chica, I don't see color.
I don't see color? How you gonna see
I don't
color?
see color.
What color?
Right? It don't make sense. Because then let's say somebody come and like with my brothers and sisters in Haiti who just get relics. Right? My brothers and sisters in Haiti. Right? Where is the religion? Not Obia. So I'm saying, as soon as I see that kind of religion, I don't start to judge. So I divide from my brother.
Yeah.
I have to forget that.
Yeah. So
I had to
so we
not
want-
see that and see, hey, he trying to come to do some good. He trying to connect to do something positive. He trying to do, you know what I mean? He's trying now to, that is how we have to, that is emancipation.
So what we want to say from Sherlon, Lion, from Chica, and Mike the Man from Radio Ivy, we want to leave this with all you. Think about this. Since all is celebrating emancipation today, physically, not spiritually, not mentally, and tomorrow is a holiday, to celebrate again. Are you truly emancipated? So we're going to leave you guys with Bob. Gonna catch you later.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
We
Lion,
good.
Chica?
Yeah, well, we just said it.
We good.
Old pirates, yes, they rabbi, sold out to the merchant ships. Minutes after they to die from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong.
Hey, it's a girl Chica G, and Burn Team TV is where we bring the vibes.
Burn Team TV is about merging online lives with basic unconventional raw nutrition services, giving you that TV effect while streaming live.
Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Oh, have no fear for atomic energy, cause none of them can stop at the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Yes, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing?